after Mother's Day, so it's been like 6 weeks, I guess. And I just wanted to show you how it was doing. Alright, so we have a lot of stuff growing. Some things didn't come up at all, or they came up and the chickens got in here and ate them. We've had that happen a couple times. The chickens seem to not bother the bigger plants, but the ones that were just little, just coming up, they pulled out of the ground. So our squash is doing really well. We've got a couple squash here. It goes all the way down the line. And then this is my lettuce, and it's growing really well. I'm actually going to cut some of it today. And this is the arugula, and I'm going to cut some of that too. And then you can barely see over here, these are cauliflower. They look pretty rough. I don't know how well they'll do. I also planted some tiny green onions in here, and they're barely coming up right here. There's some over here. So you can just barely see those. This area doesn't have any compost on it yet. It's just dirt. And I probably should put some compost on there to hold the water in. That would be helpful. I planted dill here, and none of it came up from seed, so my mother-in-law brought me some. We've also got some strawberries here, and they look like they need some more water. She brought those from her house also.
Mama.
Yeah, buddy? But this dill is actually doing really well for being transplanted. These are all my sunflowers, and they're growing very well. They're going to be nice and tall and pretty here soon.
Mama, please. Can I have this?
No, not right now. We just had breakfast, but you could have it for a snack in a little bit.
Okay,
You're welcome. There's another little squash. There's one growing here. I think this is a watermelon. Looks like a watermelon. And then these are pumpkins, and they're doing really good. Another one. This is some more squash that's growing really well. We've got our red buckets out here because we've had a few times that we have covered everything up, thinking that it may hail. But we've only had hail one time, and we didn't make it out here to cover everything, but everything is recovered pretty well. More squash, more squash. There's several different kinds of squash. There were cucumbers here. This is one thing that the chickens pulled up. There were some here. There's some cucumbers right here. This is our only cucumber plant that's actually doing anything. The rest of them just haven't grown. This little tiny guy right there is a cucumber, but that's about as big as it's gotten. And we had cucumbers here too, but you can see the chickens dug this up.
Mama!
What?
What is tea?
Those are squash.
Oh, thank you. Mama, I tea too.
Those are pumpkins.
Pumpkin?
Yeah. We've also got peas growing over here along the fence, and they're doing all right. I think they maybe need some water, so we'll give them some water today. And then this row here has got all of our beets in it, and you can see that they're coming up really well. They I think they have some compost on them. The compost does a really good job of holding the water in, so they're growing really good. We've got a couple of melon plants here. I think these are honeydews. This one and another one here. So those are doing pretty good. And then this row is our carrots. You can see them all coming up. We were worried about them for a while because when we were gone they didn't get watered, but they seem to be doing all right, and I think the weather's gonna finally warm up so that things will start growing better. It's just been so cold, especially at night, that stuff hasn't grown very well. Over here we've got our green beans. There's 2 rows of green beans, and I think they got too much water. I think they were getting some root rot. As you can see, they're pretty yellow in color, so we haven't watered them for a while, and we're hoping as the weather warms up that they'll come out of it and do all right. We did pull some of the compost back in some places to dry out the soil a little bit. All right, in this row here we had some okra plants. There's only a few of them left. Some of them didn't come up at all, and they're not doing very well either. I don't know why they didn't come up. Looks like maybe some bugs are getting to them, or the chickens got to them, but they're slow growing. And then this is some kale, and I've actually done 2 cuttings off of this already, and I'm getting ready to cut some more. The leaves are sweeter when they're smaller. If you let them grow big, then they turn bitter. So I'm trying to get them cut whenever they're smaller, and then I make kale chips, and the kale chips disappear about as soon as I pull them out of the oven. Everyone really likes them.
I like some deal chips. Mom, I love deal chips.
Kale chips.
Kale chips.
Kale chips. Here's our onions. We've got white onions, red onions, and sweet onions. And they're doing well. Oh, I see a goat head in there. Scooch over.
I will. Mommy,
See it right there?
Oh, yeah. Did it go ahead?
Yes, that is a goat head. Pull it out of there.
Dad, we found some goat head.
Oh yeah, okay, I've got goat head back.
Gotta pull them out by the roots. Did you get them?
Yep. With the
Okay.
roots.
So here's my tomato plants, Kindon. Don't miss.
I can put that.
And they had 2 little green tomatoes on them, but they're on the ground this morning, so I don't know if they, the wind was blowing pretty hard yesterday, I think it was. And they may have just gotten blown off by the wind, but there's several flowers on there, and they're doing pretty good.
Mama, let me see. And this one.
I've got cabbage in this row that Coulter planted from seed, and it's coming up. Got little cabbage plants. And we've got more cabbage in this row. The chickens did pull some of this cabbage out when they were in here, but most of it is still growing. And here we had pepper plants, and they were all coming up really good, and then the chickens got in here and ate them, so they're gone now. And then this is our spinach, and we've done a few cuttings off of this also, and then Austin's cutting it again right now. And he said some of them are trying to go to seed already, so I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, maybe they need some water. So we're gonna put some water on them and see if that'll help them to not go to seed.
Don't do that, okay?
But we've been enjoying fresh spinach.
You can't, like, eat the beyond some more.
I'm not sure how these are going to taste since they're already kind of so.
And then my sunflowers growing really good. We've also got over by the house, there are strawberry plants in a couple of barrels, and those were doing really well. We were getting a lot of strawberries off of them, and then my husband spread them out in the barrel a little bit more. They were all clumped together, so they're recovering from that, but I'm sure they'll continue to do well as long as they stay watered. And I think that's about it. That is no, our apple trees are doing okay. They don't have any apples on them, but yeah, I think that's it. So that's our garden update. So thank you for watching today, and I will see you next time. Bye.